I'm really lucky. That's what I wanted to say. Um, I'm not sober. I'm a little bit drunk. Um, but what else was I gonna say? I'm lucky. What was I gonna say? My mother. The videos I've been posting on Instagram. The vocabulary explanation. Ah, so I've been working on my it theory vocabulary. Well, not working on it, publishing it to Instagram. So draft one, there's actually some typos in the green screen in the screenshots, but whatever. Anyway, um, I'm sorry. I just remembered thinking, and I haven't written this down yet. My job. Oh, I have somewhere. My job isn't to be right. My job is to care about being right, but my job isn't to be right. The great thing about language um, and the internet is that we are able to preserve ideas. I don't have to save the world. Um, I just have to give the thoughts that I have, especially if one, they aren't harmful, and two, they're a little bit different, or they add something. Then again, I would encourage every human to not wait for the criteria to be met that the idea is going to add something, because then you don't get to the idea that adds something. Anyway, um, it's cool to acknowledge that I'm at, and I've been at for a couple of years, a point in my life where I can just commit to my ideas, sort of. I still have to care about being right, which means I still have to care about what I'm saying being supported by empirical evidence and being reasonable by, you know, well, I haven't really checked that sort of with my two its, my system two its, my two its. But I have to care about that, and I'm relying on my one its to anyway. I'm hoping that over the past few years they've been keeping their eye out. Anyway, so but of course, soon a step in the process will be to try to do, and I'm actually a guy. Maybe I've linked you to this. Although this is embarrassing because he's just a kid, and anyway, there's still more in the class. I I'm gonna learn low span with someone. Hopefully, everybody keeps bailing, but hopefully this kid's gonna come through, and we're gonna be able to. I'm gonna be able to, because I already started with someone else, Toki Pona, but then that person disappeared. I don't know whether he died or what. He lived in Iran. So I don't know. He ghosted me. I don't know what happened. Hold on. Good boy, buddy. Good boy. Good boy, buddy. Good boy, buddy. I don't want to. All right, we're good. Good boy, buddy. You're such a good boy. You're such a good boy. Okay. Roshban. Um, so I'm gonna learn this language that is meant to be more logical, sort of. I don't know. I haven't even started, so I'm really excited about that. Anyway, we're getting off track. Okay. The whole point of the video was going to be, I just wanted to say that I am lucky that I have a boss, um, that I have a person who is willing to feed me in exchange for these projects. Uh, the everyone's original boss, still mine, my mother. And as long as I'm working, as long as I'm publishing, um, she won't be able to actually evaluate the ideas. I don't have anyone for that, so please help me with that. I've got ChatGPT, and that's it. That's it. And I don't know. I think ChatGPT is just blowing smoke up my ass. I think he's just gassing me up. I don't know. It's been a while since I lived in the U.S. Okay, so anyway, um, so I'm lucky about that. I'm lucky that I'm able to. I have an interpretation of real evidence, of recent and real evidence. I mean, recent evidence, um, that is sort of developed enough to be worthwhile, regardless of its truth value. It's hard for me to see how it isn't true, but of course it would be. Um, so my job is now just to contribute to the pool of ideas. Um, I wish we had more people that we mocked. Um, well, I'm not very really in the science community. I'm in the field, or philosophy, I guess. But anyway, um, but I'm sure people know of a lot more examples of me than I do. But the only example that comes to mind right now is like Freud and maybe Copernicus. No, I don't know. Oh, Wallace. I don't know. I wish there were more examples. It's survivorship bias, right? But I wish there were more examples of people who contributed major ideas that were incorrect, that were puck. Um, but I mean, they tried cupping reality, and they just didn't interpret it as well as someone else since them or other than them, in our history. I wish there were more. I wish I had more examples that came to mind. By the way, since we're kind of just thraining right now, thraining, it's in the vocabulary. Um, Another thought I've had recently, because the thought about something, I had recently. Anyway, another thought I had recently was that as a kid, you have to, or as a parent, I think one of your major responsibilities, and this I guess extends to teachers. It's hard because the word parent, like, means more than it should. It kind of should mean just the main person responsible and the person who sort of biologically produced the child, whether that's through sperm or egg. Or yeah. Um, so there are two parents. Um, that should be all that means, because in a tribe, you've got aunties, you've got, or even in certain communities today that haven't, gotten fucked over by this nuclear family, whatever. Anyway, you've got aunties, you've got grandparents, you've got uncles, you've got just other elders in the neighborhood, and they are all contributing to and responsible for the child. Okay. Anyway, uh, in sort of my culture, to the people of my culture, what parents need to do is make sure that their kid does everything. I know that sounds crazy, um, but maybe make a list of 50 things that are in demand and, are considered accomplishments in the modern culture. Well, that's, in the time that around the time that the kid is born. So, for instance, if you write a book, you get a thumbs up. If you write a script, you get a thumbs up. If you act in something that is on television, you get a thumbs up. If you learn an instrument and perform it, you get a thumbs up. If you we're thinking of different things that here's the thing. I'm concerned. I tried pretty much everything. My parents were really good about that. But I had an uh, previous partner who I remember one time I was like, "Hey, let's write a song together," and she goes, What? Writing a song is hard. I can't write a song." We weren't gonna write a Grammy winner in 5 minutes, but we can sort of write a melody. Well, she has some musical knowledge. I've forgotten mine, but I played the piano, the flute when I was a kid, so we can write a melody and write lyrics. Like, but if you grow up, and she did a lot of things in her childhood, so no slight to her parents. I don't mean that. And there are just other confidence issues as well. Oh shit. Good boy, buddy. Good boy. You let me know. You maybe even let him know. But you're not nuanced enough to. Maybe actually, I bet you could be nuanced enough to know how to make sure you let both of us know without breaking anybody's ears. Uh oh. Coming back? What were we saying? Why do I have a picture of a young man in my mind? All right, because we were giving advice about kids. We don't have kids, by the way. It's kind of that. Why did that feel weird to say? Anyway, the point is, the reason for doing this is that you don't want the kid to grow up thinking that celebrities are special. Um, the spectrum of human talent, okay, is great, but not that sort of. So it is broad or wide, but it's not that wide. So yes, there are some outliers, some celebrities who are just, but most sort of either accomplished or acknowledged, reputed, whatever people, um, that's within the grasp of sort of the normal human brain, um, with some courage and obsession. Um, so you don't want. Okay, so can everybody write the best screenplay ever? No, I mean that's also just a stupid sentence. But um, can everybody write a blockbuster? All right, actually maybe not. But can everybody average or above write a blockbuster? All right. imagining IQ tests as being 100% like perfect, like an indication of every possible sense of intelligence. Um, can people 110? Can anyone who's 110 or higher? Can anyone who's one? No, no. Can anyone 80 80 could write a blockbuster? Yeah, I mean with some help, but just I mean everybody. Nobody writes a blockbuster and just emerges from the basement with a blockbuster. There's always inspiration, communication, interaction. It's always more of a communal system. But could an 80 be at the center of that? Absolutely. Anyway, what are we talking about right now? What are we doing? Um, right. No, but the point is, no, I think you were following. I got lost, but so the point is that at least in 2024, okay, in the early 21st century, in the first 2 decades of the 21st century, I believe that anyone could accomplish um, anything except be the best, or 99th percentile or whatever. But could all right, not anyone could win. All right, so not any award, but any like anyway, you understand. We're just getting lost in words, but you understand. I think. I think that's is that wrong? Is that stupid? Anybody can. Is it just anyway? Um, but one reason that they don't, one reason that people who could don't, is that they think that what is considered successful today is sort of reserved for certain people. And in some senses it is, but the abilities or actions that we can equate with success, or the feats that we equate with success, can be achieved by, I think, anybody really. Um, yeah. I mean, like, not that they would be achieved by anybody. I mean, not anything, I guess. There are things like, I don't know, if you had an IQ of like 90 and you were absolutely obsessed with understanding the mind. Yeah, with enough time, or you would just have to use more of the time than I've used of mine. If you were absolutely obsessed with it and bold enough and just faithful enough, yeah, you could have already figured out the things that I figured out. My ADHD has. It takes me. I'm not that productive. In the last couple of years, it's been great, but what are we? What is that? We need a word for when you sort of just. And actually, all right. So this is really interesting. So we need a word for when you snap out of some activity. Activity is just mental activity, right? So when you snap out of activity and sort of have a judgment of the of that activity that you just snapped out of, there's got to be like a word for that. Um, Now, here's what's interesting, because that wasn't why I said this is interesting. Here's what's interesting. Okay, just imagine a spectrum for a second. I think most of us can understand at the end of the bottom end, the bad end of this spectrum are people who define themselves, no, who are very rigid, who never evolve, who don't develop over the course of their lives. Like they develop at the beginning, and then at some point they find something, a belief, a personality, whatever, and then they stay that their entire lives and very rigidly, like without much fluctuation or deviation. Um, so a person who like at 14 says they know who they are, they know what they are, or I guess it can be an age that they become this, but to exist at this end of the spectrum, you have to, that's a whole lifetime. Anyway, so for at 14, they're like, I know what I am, I know what I believe, and blah, blah. And then they just do that, believe that, say that, feel that, interpret it that way for the rest of their lives. Okay. Now, all right, so you may be thinking the spectrum I'm imagining is a question of evolution, progress, change. That's a cool spectrum, but that's not what I was thinking before you made me think of it. Um, what I'm trying to what I'm trying to talk about is a spectrum of consistency, or okay, yeah, but or like defining yourself by the past. Yeah, our spectra are very similar. Maybe I'm talking about the thing that you had in mind. I don't know. Anyway, um, but it's you have to. It's a subjective thing. Imagine it from the person. These are the things that I think about. These are my memories. These are the memories I always go back to. This is the way that I am. And now imagine. Now, if you've ever done shrooms, you can actually really understand what I'm talking about. On the other end of the spectrum is someone who just resets every once in a while, who it's like there is no commitment to their previous reactions, interpretations, whatever. All right. This is not a spectrum of people. This is a spectrum of sort of, I don't know. All right. So first of all, I'm just saying you're not stuck if you're at the end. Um, I don't think you would even recognize that, but no, I guess you would. If you're at the end, the bad end, um, first of all, just do shrooms. Because what shrooms do, psilocybin, at least in my experience, is, gosh, I gotta do shrooms again. I have some vague sense of self, and with shrooms, it felt like another self. Like nothing but the first piece of me was still there. Or maybe not even. The 0th piece of me was what was there. The eyes, but nothing about the frames, the color, you know, was the same. And gosh, you just feel so free. Not that now we feel constrained, but gosh, if you haven't done shrooms, you're mistaken. And, détrompez-vous, because you do them, and at least in my experience, it's almost like a new soul took the seat. If we imagine that, like, you're mostly the person that was in the seat, but also a little bit the heat left in the seat, and I don't know what I'm saying right now. I mean, I do know, but I'm giving up on it. I have to pee. We're hanging out, so that's okay. I gotta start live streaming. Not because people would want to, but just because it's something that I want to do. I think for the last year of my existence, I'm gonna live stream. For I don't know that I'll know exactly a year before, but uh, I don't know. I'll know when I know, I guess, or I'll commit when I commit. And yeah, I don't know. Gosh, what would be the criteria of the final chapter? One thing that criteria that's met is whether she admits it or not, whether it's whatever or not. My mom's on board. She'll obviously suffer a great deal, but I I sort of have her permission. Like not really, like she'd never give me her permission, but we had some conversations where I felt like what's the word? I had this I made deuced. Shit, I didn't do a video of Deuce. Where I deuced her sort of, what my experience is like. It's just frustrating. Look, I have great memories. I'm very happy with my experience in life. Um, by the way, another great thing that I've been doing lately. Anyway, a great thing, and a thing that I've been doing lately. Another great thing, and a thing that also that I've sort of been doing lately. Or actually, I think I just did it. Um, I have certain people in my life that I resent, that I don't like how they handled a situation, or I feel like they didn't come through, or I feel like they failed me as important people in my life. And those people have sort of dimmed the memories of their periods, right? So I can't think back to memories with them or even during that period where I don't then think to how they sort of to them. I guess there's more to it because in my case, one of these people, maybe two, I feel like the um I feel like I can imagine them accusing me of things that I don't think I did. Uh and most of it is it's not about whether or not I did something. Um it's about whether or not well, what my intention was. And that's really a big thing that about it. Um and also where the responsibility was. I took as much responsibility. Anyway, we're not going to get into all that. I mean, at some point, if you look at a woman and say, "Listen, we are not going to be together. I don't love you in that way. You are not who I want to be with. I enjoy us as friends. That's all that I want." And then they say, "Yeah, that's great. I agree." But actually, they didn't. You know. Anyway. No, I mean, I would. Anyway, I've learned from these experiences. And also, no one, in fact, no one really even got hurt. Okay, that does make it easy. I've literally never thought that